Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another weekly Outlook episode. Let's jump right to the charts. We're starting with entity CAD. My alarm did not trigger here for the weekly sweep, so still got nothing here. I'm just gonna leave it on because I think we can still see awesome shorts once we smash through this level and see a reversal after that. So I'm gonna leave this on, but at the bottom of my list because before the alarm triggers, nothing to do. Then we had called that this is gonna short after the weekly sweep. This is Euro CHF. We have the weekly sweep here, and we have our two legs down. First leg, fair value gap. Second leg, fair value gap. We're breaking structure here, multiple structure. We were clearly flipping bullish, bearish, and we had the nice inducement here. And this was basically, if I would have taken this trade, it would have been hitting take profit just after the market opened. This was basically a huge gap and was directly killing this inducement target. So this was a cool idea. Happy to have been right on that trade. I took AUD CHF instead, which was basically almost the same setup. Weekly sweep. We tap into this nice clean daily order block here. Retest the structure, tap into the order block, and get the same structure shift like on Euro CHF. First gap, second gap, breaks of structures multiple. We close down here. Then we get another lower close, and then we retrace up. Choppy, super choppy. This is what we want to see. Bulls without any control. We sweep this as inducement, and I market executed here. And very unfortunately, I got basically punished for sleeping like a human being, I guess, because I was going to bed here. And if I would have seen that here, that we come almost to my take profit, and with a huge gap, imagine this candle is not there, it's just a huge gap. With a huge gap above, a pullback overdue, market completely overextended, and it starts reversing from my, just before my take profit. 100% if I would have been awake, I would have just closed that for almost 2 hours. But I was going to bed here and I woke up to this here, and yeah, then I had to let it play out. And if you have a trade that almost goes to take profit, obviously you have to go break even, because if you're just stupid if you take a loss on something like that. So I was forced to go break even here, and it was really a shame because I could have easily taken this one instead, but guess luck's not on my side this time, but it's all good. Then we had Euro GBP. This was a little bit more on me that I didn't profit from that. It was a beautiful call. It was all called out in the weeks before. We swept the weekly, you know the drill. We get two legs, right? We have first fair value gap here. We have a second fair value gap here. Third fair value gap here. Order flow, clearly bearish. Momentum, clearly bearish. And I should have just market executed from here. Or, put a limit here in this first gap and just have an easy time banking 2R here. But I was too careful. I wanted a little bit too much from the market. I wanted to take my profits before this huge fair value gap here. And I wanted my 2R. So as you can see, unfortunately I got missed, but this is on me. I need to be a little more confident. I could have easily taken this and focus a little more on the entry, except of getting my 2Rs and adjusting everything over. Like, this was on me, but I mean, it was still nice that I was right on this, and it's all good. The winners are coming, so I'm gonna stay patient, guys. We have to stay patient, rule number 1. So that was from last week, what I still had over and what I'm still gonna keep watching. This one is basically over, so I'm gonna take it off now. And this one I still have to journal. And this is basically over too. So let's move on. GBP CAD, also a little unfortunate because this was also basically the same drill. I mean, you know me, I always do the same shit. I won my weekly structure sweep, my 4-hour shift, and then I'm all happy. So don't be surprised if everything kind of looks the same, but it works, so that's what matters. We have the weekly structure sweep here, we get a re-sweep here, and then we have our first leg, and we have a second leg with closing in this fair value gap, and then we even have a third leg with fair value gaps. And I was a little shy. I could have obviously taken a limit here and get into this trade from this first value gap, first fair value gap, but I'm not a one leg guy. This at this point was only one leg. I wanted to see at least another close below, ideally in this fair value gap, and this happened here. And then I did basically this, I was seeing this as an inducement, and I thought, okay, now we closed here, we're gonna have a little bit of a retracement, get into this fair value gap, and then sell off. Unfortunately, the market swept so much liquidity that it just didn't look back, and I just wanted to run away. But I think that this is not over yet. I think, and I hope, that we're gonna get a super ugly retracement, super slow chop up, and even this week or the next week even, we get still an entry and can take this lower. This would be ideal, but if this just sells off, it is what it is. I was right again. Couldn't profit, but this is part of the game. If you are asking the market for so many confirmations, then sometimes it will just not come back for you, because the more aggressive trader will take a lot of losses, but when he's right, he's gonna catch the big moves, right, with the big RR. But I'm just more win rate focused, because you can risk more per trade, and I just want to take my 2% risk on something very confluent. And if I get missed like that, I have to get used to that. It's just part of the game, it's normal, and it's all good. Of course, I have some misses in a row now, and the break-even was unfortunate with AUD CHF, but then you have these other instances, right, where you are a little bit lucky maybe, where it maybe just hits your take profit and then completely reverses. So over time, it all balances out, so I'm chill, guys. So this one was very tricky. I'm gonna do a video on that specific, because one of you guys had a question on that, and I'm gonna drop a video on that specifically, because this is a very, very interesting trade setup here, because it's very nuanced. Like, it's not A+, but it kinda is. It's very, I don't know, very interesting, this trade. Okay, let's just dissect real quick. What we have here is still basically the same as last week, but even more confluence, because we got more bearish proof now, basically. So what we have again, we have the weekly sweep here, okay? This weekly structure violated, and of course this lower weekly structure completely violated. And you see how the sellers got spanked here. The sellers, the early sellers here, sweep, they sell, get spanked. Here we sweep this order block, we sell off, we spank all these sellers again, and now we tapped into this extreme order block here and sold off once again. But this time you can clearly see, this time we have the strongest bearish reaction so far. So we have a strong push down closing below all this. This demand was a doubt for me. That's why I didn't want to enter here, for example. So this is a continuation trade, as you can see. This is not covering the whole sweep area, because it would be shitty risk to reward. So it's a continuation trade where we don't cover the whole sweep area, okay? And I didn't want to take this continuation trade because I wanted to see this demand not doing its job. If this demand does its job, until here it looks bullish, this could have easily just gone higher, okay? So I wanted this demand failing, and this is what we are starting to see now. We are a little choppy up, but I'm not believing it yet that it's gonna fail the demand, so I'm still gonna wait. So now it was super corrective, and now we have another strong breakdown. Now I'm really buying, not buying in terms of buying the market, but I believe this demand that it's weak, okay? So now I think I'm very confident this is gonna finally take this insane equals here. But do I still want to take this trade? I'm very careful with that, because it's still a continuation trade. And what is also against it a little is that we have this huge, if you see this from the macro perspective, you see this huge leg. We are in discount of the leg, and this is not ideal for sales. Of course, our 4-hour doesn't always have to be perfectly in the picture of the weekly and of all the weekly confluences, because then you would take 2 trades a year. But it is a slight thing that makes a setup, instead of A+, it makes it maybe A, or on top, because it's a continuation trade. I think this is maximum a B setup. So what I'm gonna do with this, I have some challenges in drawdown. I think I'm gonna take it with 0.5% risk of one of these challenges that I want to slowly try to salvage, but I'm not gonna risk on my main challenge right now 2% on that. It's not good enough for me. So yeah, let's see. Maybe I'm gonna give it 0.5%. If it comes up here slowly again, beginning of the week, maybe I'm gonna give it a shot, but not sure yet. But this is so interesting, because it's kind of good and kind of juicy and kind of nice, but it has its catches, and it's so interesting how we traders I don't know, drop me in the comments what you make of this trade, because you're gonna for sure see that I have some valid points, but you're for sure gonna also understand what speaks against it. So let me know what you think about this trade. I would really, or this trade idea, I would really love to hear it. GBP, JPY, also very interesting one. Because of the weekly, we have finally our juicy, nice little weekly structure sweep. We are tapping into this weekly order block now. That's just an extra confluence that I love, man. When we really not just sweep a structure sweep on the structure point on the weekly, but also tap into a really meaningful area. And this is just a nice, clean, never tapped before weekly order block. So I'm really, really hoping that this makes a nice 4-hour shift. You know the drill. We need 2 legs. Let me use the little candle tool here. Okay, we need 1 leg for a value gap. Then we need a mitigation, another close above. Okay. Now I believe that we have a true reaction here. So then we can take this from the first fair value gap, or maybe it gives a little first inducement, something like this, and then we can take it higher. So imagine it happens like this. You could enter this maybe from the first inducement, take it higher, yeah, around 2-ish RR. So this is what I want to see. Hopefully it materializes. If not, so be it. But I'm really happy with myself that I didn't fall for this 2-hour leg here, because I was zooming in and I was like kind of, should I do this? Because on the 1 hour it actually looks clean. On the 1 hour it gives the 2 legs, right? That is exactly my criteria. First break of structure, fair value gap. Second break of structure, closing above, looks super bullish, fair value gap. But guys, this is so often a trap, man. This is exactly why I don't trade first legs. Look, it's a first leg. If you want to really see it, this is even a tiny fair value gap. Even if this would have been bigger, I would have not been interested, because it's just the first leg, and the first leg is so often a trap. And you see, I would have taken a loss here today, so I'm happy with me being patient. But if the switch happens, man, whew, I'm gonna long the shit out of that, man. So I'm very happy with that, and I hope it's gonna materialize. Happy with having that on my watch list, and hopefully something will turn up. So GBP AUD is also a very interesting one. Again, what happened? You guessed it, a weekly structure sweep. Okay, this time it's not so easy to see. Well, it's a weekly candle sweep. It's more like a daily structure sweep, but still valid. You see how clean that looks on the daily. We are tapping this order block here for the first time, sweeping this daily level, and also a weekly high of a candle, at least of a wick, and get a beautiful, well, no, I'm sorry guys. This is why I didn't actually took this trade. We did not get a beautiful reaction, okay? So let's rewind, okay? You see how we push up aggressively and chop down. That's why I didn't take the trade. If we, on the other hand, would have done something like this, okay? Let's say we chop up here, and then we get our sweep, okay? And then we see the momentum shift, and we have a nice fair value gap here. Then we get our second leg. You feel bored, right now, because you know what I'm gonna draw, because it's always the same shit, okay? We have the second leg now. We close under this demand level. We have our first gap, we have our second gap. We can get from the inducement the entry, and then we sell off. Something like this is what I wanted to see. But what happened is exactly the opposite. We shoot up and chop down, and while this was kind of looking nice on the 2 hour, and yeah, it looks kind of bearish order flow in the 1 hour, like I don't get fooled by the 1 hour. This could have easily just fooled the sellers again. It's the wrong arrow tool. Easily fooled the sellers and give it a resweep and then sell off. This is how it looked. So I wanted to rule this out, and I didn't take this, and I'm not mad at all for being right about where the market is gonna go. I was right again, but it has to go in a way that I like it, and it just didn't here. So it was not as confluence and not as high probable as I wanted it to be, so I didn't execute. So this is where you guys, first rule in trading is being patient, and I'm happy with my patience, and yeah, it's all good. So I think we can see nice longs once we sweep this equals here. But for a sell, if you consider this, for example, as a continuation sell, I don't like it, man. Because first of all, We have this order block. Look, this just did nothing. This order block did nothing. There's no sweep, there's no nothing. It just kind of appeared. And look how ugly that looks. Shoot up, trickle down. This is not something I want to have my stop loss just over, because it just has no value. It has no strength this high. Look, it just push up, trickles down. What the fuck is that, man? No, I'm not gonna take any trade on that. And especially because we are also just, if you take the premium discount fib tool here, it's too low. It's too low. It's too low for a sell. If this is a high continuation trade that swept, I don't know, something as an inducement, and we can actually have our stop loss in high premium, okay, then I consider it. But this is just too low in premium, and the order block didn't sweep anything. So yeah, it looks seducing, but it's a low confluence trade. So do your own due diligence, but I don't want to be in something like that. So yeah, I got my alarms here, and I'm just gonna wait, and I rather look for longs once we take this here. Let's see how that would look on the weekly. Look, this would also be super cool on the weekly in the whole context, right? Let's imagine we sweep this and we tap into this weekly order block, and then we get our 4-hour shift with 2 legs, 2 fair value gaps. Beautiful stuff. So I hope I can switch into longs here. This would also be very nicely within the overall bearish bullish trend. We just have to be careful about this trend line, because this gets a little disgusting here. So yeah, we have to keep this trend line in mind for sure. This is an invalidation for longs, but we also have to see how it sets up ultimately. And yeah, patience pays, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, that is it. Thank you so much for your attention. If I missed anything, kindly let me know, and I'm gonna do a case study on it. And yeah, I appreciate your feedback, and thank you for your attention. Take care, guys.